Welcome to the Fit Dad Nation podcast, forging strong fathers and raising a stronger generation. It's time to get up, man up, or shut up with your host, Steve Roy.
Hey guys, this is Steve Roy, the host of the Fit Dad Nation podcast. Thanks for listening and welcome to the show. First off, I apologize. I have a cold here. You can probably tell in my voice. So I committed to doing one show per week, and today being the 25th of March, I am scheduled to post a show tomorrow, and I'm not going to miss it because I sound this bad. So please bear with me while I work through this raspy voice, and I apologize, but we're going to talk about something that's extremely important. But before I jump into that, I want to talk about something real quick. So today is March 25th, and 1 week from today, actually 1 week from yesterday, we're going to be launching our private membership community called the Fit Dad Nation Inner Circle. So I've been talking about this for a while. I was actually hoping to have it launched a while back. It's just taken a lot longer than I had hoped. But this is going to be, in my opinion, kind of your one-stop shop for all things fitness related for you as a dad. So it's going to be a private membership community. We're going to have a private Facebook group. We're going to do all kinds of stuff that are going to help you become the best version of yourself. And obviously it's going to be fitness at the center of all of this. So we're going to be doing quarterly transformation challenges. There are going to be all kinds of prizes. We're going to do weekly live Q&As. There's a huge exercise library database and recipe archive. You've got access to a full 6 weeks strength and conditioning program when you join. You're going to have access to all of our past and future challenges that we run inside of our private groups. I'm pouring a lot into this, and I really feel like this is going to be a phenomenal place for dads to kind of gather. We're going to have accountability partners, and I'm just really excited. So I'm going to put a link in the show notes. The program is not live yet, but it will be come the end of March 31st. So you can put your name on the waiting list and join, and you'll be notified when it goes live. So I want to talk about something that I feel very strongly about, and that's having a why, as in, why do you want to be fit? And so it's not as easy as, well, I just want to look better, or, I want to do it for my kids, or I'm just tired of being fat, right? Those are surface answers, and I ask this question a lot, and especially to my clients. I want to know, what's the real reason that you want to be fitter? I mean, there's a reason, and oftentimes it's deep. So first things first, a lot of people, and you've heard this a lot, it just comes down to discipline, right? Just do the work and you'll get the results, right? But here's the thing, and there's some truth to that, but if everybody could just easily click on a switch that allowed them to be disciplined, everybody would be, right? Because it's not that easy, right? Disciplining ourselves is extremely difficult, and most of us have really shitty habits that we've been with us for years, and so it's just not like, oh, okay, well, I'm going to just do everything differently today, starting today, and it's going to be great, right? It does work in some cases, but more likely than not, it doesn't. So I believe that at the root of discipline, there needs to be your why, right? So at the very base of this, it's, why do I want to make a change? And I want you to think about this as you're listening to this, because it's extremely important that you really, truly can grasp the idea behind you. And everybody's different. There's no right answer. There's no wrong answer. It could be a surface. It could be, I want to look better naked. I mean, that could be your reason. There's nothing wrong with that. It could be that you want to outlive your parents who died in their late 50s because they were obese and they had heart attacks. I don't know. So for me, being disciplined has been a real challenge, especially since I work for myself. I'm home a lot, and I'm required to be self-disciplined. It's not that easy. I struggle with it, to be honest with you. Still, it's been 5 years, but I still struggle with it. So even something like let's take, for example, taking a daily multivitamin, right? We all know the benefits of taking a vitamin, right? And I have some that are 10 feet away from me all day long. Yet I rarely do it because that's just not a habit of mine. I'm not great about it and I'm not disciplined to it. But now that I'm sick, right? I'm cold, I feel like crap. I'm taking it. And so that's my why. My why is I want to get better faster. And I think that by taking these, my immune system will get stronger and I'll get better faster. So that's my why to do it. And I'm going to tell you two stories here that may shed some light on why I push this so much. And first one being back in 2010, I was working in finance. I worked for a big brokerage firm, and I was a financial advisor. We had a nice business. It was a great job on paper, but I absolutely hated the work. I mean, I literally just loathed going into the office. I didn't like the environment. I didn't like my boss, but the work was just extremely tedious and it was extremely unfulfilling. And so when I would go to work, I literally would sit there thinking, my life is just ticking away right now. Like, these are 8 hours I will never get back. And that's how I thought about it. It wasn't like, oh, wow, I get this great paycheck and I have these awesome benefits. And no, it wasn't anything like that. It was, I'm literally pissing my life away. And so I started a blog in 2010, and I knew nothing about blogging. I wasn't a writer. And so I went to Barnes & Noble. I bought WordPress for Dummies. I read it all. I installed WordPress, started a website, bought a domain, and I started writing. And I would write at work, I would write at home, at night, and I was writing from my heart. So I was so frustrated, so upset that I felt like I was stuck. I was trapped in this job. And I was married at the time. We had 2 little girls, and she stayed home with the kids. So it was on me 100% to provide financially. And there's nothing wrong with that. But I felt trapped because of it. So it wasn't like, hey, what do you really want to do? What are your passions? What are your dreams? Let's do that. No, that wasn't the conversation. It was, you better get your ass to work because we need money. And so, yeah, I felt not only that I was wasting my life, but I was trapped doing it and I didn't see a way out. And so my out was writing. And I poured my heart and soul into this website. And I was speaking from experience. I was in the moment, like I was literally feeling the anxiety, and I was feeling the despair as I was writing it because I was in my office writing it. And I said, please, I know there's a better way. I just don't know what it is for me. And so within a few months, this website took off. Like, it had, I think, 20,000 visitors a month within like 4 months because people found it and they were like, holy shit, man, this guy he knows what's going on. This is exactly how I feel. So I would get hundreds and hundreds of comments of people saying, holy, this is my life. Thank you so much for sharing it. And so for me, this was a very powerful why. Like, I knew my life was so short and I didn't want to spend it doing something else, working for somebody else, doing work I hated. And so it was my why. It was driving me to put 20 plus hours. It was like 20, maybe even 30 hours a week into this side project. It wasn't even a business. I wasn't making any money. It was just a side project, but I was so passionate about it because I felt like it was my way out. Like, if I can write enough and I can inspire enough people, I'm going to find a way to make money and get out of my day job. That was my thought. So, for me, that was the reason that I did what I did. So that was my why. That was obviously a very powerful thing. And that's why I'm telling you this story, is because whatever it is, and for the purpose of this conversation, we're talking about your fitness and your health, as into why do you want to get fit? And it took me, years of figuring it out. It wasn't like I just took a hike one day or took a walk one day and said, oh, this is my life's purpose. This is what I want to do. And now I have my reason and let's just go for it. I mean, it wasn't like that at all. So it took 3 full years of writing, and I actually ended up shutting the website down because I ended up choosing to try to work on my marriage, which was really struggling at the time. And I was putting so much time and energy into the website that I wasn't working on the marriage enough. So I decided to shut the website down, worked on the marriage. Obviously that didn't work out. And we ended up getting divorced. I did start the website back up, but it just never had the same kind of gusto as before because I had already left my job at that point. But as far as it relates to you and your situation, I honestly believe you need to find something that's deep somewhere in you that's going to get you out of bed in the morning, that's going to get you fired up, that's going to get your heart pumping for you to make a change. And again, we could talk about any area of your life we can apply this to, but let's talk about your health. And so that leads to my next story. So after my separation and divorce, I left my job. I took a job running a small gym. I took a huge pay cut, but I saw the upside. I loved the work, and I figured out how to make it work financially because I hustled my ass off for 15 hours a day. Got up at 4:45 in the morning. I trained. I did whatever I had to do to make enough money to live, pay my obligations, but it was worth it. The struggle was worth it for me. And so in the following year or so, I struggled emotionally with a divorce, being away from my girls. And it was tough. It was a tough time. And I did fall into, I won't even call it a depression because I'll just call it, I was in a very shitty place. And I started just abusing myself with food, basically. I didn't turn to drugs or alcohol or anything like that. It was food, soda. I just loaded up on McDonald's and crappy foods. You've heard the story before. I told it in a recent episode. And for me, the moment of clarity came with a chance meeting with an old friend who had told me a story about a good friend of hers who was my age, had 2 little girls the same age as mine, and found the love of his life finally was in a position to really live his best life, and was diagnosed with, I believe it was stomach cancer, and he died. And he was, in his early 40s, and it was, it was like, this could happen to you. And I thought about that. I said, this could happen to me. And I wasn't being the best dad I could be. When you feel like shit all the time, when you're eating McDonald's and drinking Cokes and Dr. Peppers and Red Bulls all the time, and your whole diet is fast food and Pop-Tarts, you're going to feel like a piece of shit. You're not going to have energy. You're not going to be motivated to do stuff. And that's where I was. So I wasn't being the best dad I could, but not even close. And so for me, those were the catalysts for my change. Was one, I could be dead tomorrow, and what have I done with myself? And 2, I'm not doing the best job I can as a dad. And to me, there's nothing more important than being a good father. That's it for me. My girls are my world 100% and always will be. So that was my catalyst for change. And I was in a really bad rut. I was really used to eating. And, once you get into a habit of eating junk food and fast food, it's a great feeling because you're satisfied by those sugars and those fats and all the crap they put in there that makes you want to come back for more, right? And I was there. There was nothing more delicious than a Big Mac with large fries, apple pie, chocolate shake. That was my heaven right then. And so for me to walk away from that and go cold turkey, which I did, and said, you know what, that's over. I'm done. And I started just moving more. I started exercising again. And that was my driving force. And a lot of people don't have that. Like, chances are you're probably not struggling with a divorce or being away from your children, and that's good. So you need to find the thing that works for you. And I've had a lot of conversations with a lot of guys over the years, and it's not an easy find. You have to dig. Why? You keep asking yourself, why is this important? Well, why do you want to lose 20 pounds? Why is it important? Well, why do you want to fit into smaller clothes? Why is it important? Why are you tired of being the fat person, right? There's always an underlying why, and your job is to find that. And I read something, I've actually read this book a few times. It's called Start With Why, which is a book by Simon Sinek. And it talks about why so many great companies and great leaders have powerful emotional whys. Like their whys are so strong that they inspire millions of people. And so he talks about something called the golden circle, which is a what, a how, and a why. So the first thing is your what. So for you, what do you want to do? And that's kind of simple, right? You know that what you have to do is what? You have to exercise, right? And you have to eat good foods. Those are your whats, right? Everybody knows those things. The next is how. Like, how are you going to do those things? And a lot of you know how to do it. It's as easy as a Google search. Some of you don't. But that's your next question is, how am I going to do this? Am I going to look for help? Am I going to do it on my own? How am I going to fit this into my schedule? How am I going to learn how to cook? But at the very core of that, and the very core of his golden circle, he calls it, is the why, right? And that's going to control all of it. So starting with why instead of starting with what is incredibly powerful. Because most people start with what? Man, I just got to go work out. Man, I got to clean up my diet. I'm going to try Weight Watchers. I'm going to try this diet. I'm going to get the P90X. I'm going to do whatever, right? That's the what. But he says, and I agree 100%, is let's turn it around and flip it around and say, instead of starting with your what, start with the why. Forget all the hows and the how-tos and how am I going to fit this into my schedule? What days, what day is going to be chest day? What day is going to be back day? And right? Let's worry about those things after you figure out the reason why you need to get off your ass and start getting fit and start losing that weight. So, I just can't overstate this enough. Please think about this. If you don't do anything else, our community is great. We've got a private Facebook group called the Fit Dad Base Camp. There's 600 and some odd men in there. Yeah, we do all kinds of stuff in there, but it's men helping men. It's a tribe of guys working together. And I see stories there all the time of, this is what I'm struggling with. And this is why I feel like it's time for a change. And I've had guys in the group for years. I've had men in my groups for 3 or 4 years do nothing. They haven't done shit until one day I get a private message or something, and it'll say, Steve, something happened. I had a stroke, or my blood work just came back and it's really, really bad. And he said, if I don't make a change, I'm in risk for a heart disease or a heart attack, or, hey, my dad just passed away. He just died of obesity related diseases, and he was only 60 years old, and I'm 45. I'm 40. I don't want to die in 20 years. So I see that all the time, and that's their moment of clarity. That's their moment of why. And what I'm saying is, don't necessarily wait for something catastrophic to happen in your life, or something to go wrong, or for a big wake-up call. You don't have to wait for that. Search for it. Look for it. Start doing the work, right? And the problem is most of us don't do that because we're so busy, caught up in the day-to-day. We're just in reactive mode all the time, right? We're just reacting to life. We go to work, shit happens, we deal with it, we come home, we cook dinner, we play with the kids, go to bed, start over, right? It's just in existence. But I have a lot of thoughts on why that's such a flawed system. But what I will say is, stop being so reactive and start being proactive. Set some time aside, the sooner the better, and just do a deep dive on yourself. Ask yourself some important questions. I don't have a template for you to follow. I don't have anything that's going to help you find your why, because it's extremely personal. And that's my challenge for you today. When you're done listening to this show, and you're probably tired of hearing my raspy voice, and I can only imagine how bad I sound. But this is a very, very, very important message for you. Please listen to it, and please, 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 please take some time as soon as possible to think about this and really try to figure out what's that really powerful reason that's going to get you moving, that's going to get you focused on your health and your wellness and get you moving in the right direction. Thank you so much for listening. We'll talk with you soon.
Thanks for joining us. And remember, if you want more information, check out the Fit Dad Basecamp group on Facebook. And don't forget to stop by fitdadnation.com. Until next time, keep kicking ass and taking the next step. You can do this, Dad.